lack of connectivity between systems is costly. We've covered this in depth, but let's run through it. Process of inefficiency, poor data quality, right? The API, the connections aren't exactly right. They don't work right. Show me a spreadsheet that moves throughout the company that doesn't have mistakes in it, and you could find lots of money there. Uninformed decisions making are a few of the symptoms we see in business with systems that can't talk to each other. What are some examples you've seen in the industry where this is the case? Anybody, Catherine, Derek, Adam, or Michael, want to add to that?
I'm happy to. I would say there's two big ones that come to mind for me. One, I've worked in organizations where, yes, we had an IT department, but every single line of business executive had the autonomy to make their own technology decisions. So when that happens, which I get it. I think I was at a recent conference with Salesforce in New York, and we were talking to, and goodness, I can't remember her name. She was the head of, I think, customer experience for IBM, and they had implemented Salesforce and had just told all the lines of business, we're not modifying, it's out of the box native. And there was all this pushback, but it was because they wanted to customize, and as soon as you customize, it becomes a problem. And yet that's really what happens in most organizations. Every single different executive head wants to do the right best thing, but that conflicts with everybody else. The other I would say is, and we haven't really talked about it yet, is when you have a web of integration points, when you're not dealing with a centralized managed solution, but you're dealing with a web of them, you're having to monitor and manage the security for all of those endpoints. And so you're trusting that those third parties and the third parties they're working with are all up to date on all their patches and releases and everything that needs to happen to maintain this network of data. And it's something we're sensitive to with my current organization as a government contractor on who we work with and how we work with them, because that level of risk is so high in that kind of disparate system.
Derek?
Sure. So there's two pieces to this. And again, when you're talking about integration, enterprises, they've been doing this for decades, right? They have the staff, they have the team. Your medium-sized companies, 2,000 and above, they've been dabbling in it more and more over the last 10 years. Your SMB market, they're doing, I would guess maybe 5% of them, they're using products that have integration capabilities, but they're not doing anything with that. So, it's a level of what size company it is, what type, the sophistication of the company that they have, and are they even going to utilize the capabilities that they've never had access to before or even thought about before. I can't remember who it was that was talking about the HR, integrating the HR analytics for what they were looking for. That's part of the problem too, is just getting employees in the mindset of thinking what is possible that is just never occurred to them before in any way, shape, or form, and getting them on board with making the investment of, hey, either you have this program that has this capability and you're not even doing it, has the API capability, or we're on a system that is closed. We need to plan for the future, and what does that look like? So it's going to vary on organization. It's going to vary on size of organization.
Well, and that's why it's important, I think, to work with partners and consultants and systems providers that are going to stay engaged, whether you're a developer or services group, to help and make sure that your employees are actually using the software the way you want it to do. They do a million things, right? You don't need that. You need it to work the way that your processes are going to be digitalized, where digitalization is going to be beneficial. And that's a proactive thing from management down to out to the employees to get them to feel comfortable with it, but also get what you want out of it. I'm going to move to, we're running out of time. So Adam, did you want to add to that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think just quickly that this is a great advert for iPaaS, because in the past it used to be, okay, well, these systems need to talk to each other, but someone has to develop all, custom dev all these systems. So now you got an iPaaS solution, and bang, it can happen a lot quicker.
So a number of cloud app, the number, this is about manpower, right? The cloud, the SaaS applications are exploding. And there's no stopping that. There's not enough technical resources on the planet to build these integrations using the traditional methods that we've already outlined. So how does iPaaS help solve this problem, Lance?
Yeah, so I think as far as like the manpower, it's going to be more of where IT would have to come in and sit with the business person and explain IT. You don't need to do that anymore. It's around what's your business problem, and I need to have a search. Great. Here's where do you want it on your screen, and you can build an app right then and start to get them into the user experience right away. And I think that's extremely impactful. I think what you need to have though is a priority of what those apps are that you can do. You're also going to redefine your IT function, because some of us that love the things we used to do, well, it just changes how we serve and help others moving forward. So now it becomes, again, being able to explain we're in modern technology. It's about people, process, technology. What information do you need to make decisions, and how does a low code, no code product that maybe you don't have today help you? And guess what? We might be able to help you build it like right now today. So I think that's where you go. But the manpower is actually going to be expanded through traditional IT people, and now the business folks that maybe have never been trained up this way. But guess what? They don't have to be, because everything's built into the platform.
Yep. Mark?
You know, when I think about this one, you know, the concept of more builders and low code, specifically around data management, where things are hard, data is hard. The things that I historically have not liked about low code products, kind of in this space, is I think you got to solve the whole problem. That's how you really truly make more builders. You can't just look at one part of the problem. You have to look at the level of detailed design and build, but you got to look at all the other things around it. You got to look at unit testing. You got to look at version control. You got to look at deployment. You got to look at all the things that a true developer would do. You got to solve that whole problem, and I think that's the key to this whole thing.
Stephen?
I would say that, you know, this comes down to, you know, the cost of integration from before, when we were doing point-to-point integration and everything had its own business case. Now it's more, hey, we're not going to build a car one part at a time or one trip to the auto shop at a time. We're going to say all applications are going to be, all their data as appropriate is going to be comprehensively available in the data model. We're not going piece by piece. And I think that approach alone requires a lot less resourcing and a lot less analysis, given that we're saying, hey, well, you don't need a business case to make all the data available. We're just going to make all the data available, and then we'll see the way that availability benefits a business process we have yet to think of.